no! My name is the Law! And I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Groovy.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Box Office Pulp, your one-stop podcast for movies, madness, and moxie. I'm your host, Cody, and joining me are my co-host, Mike. Say hello, Mike.
I would, but the disembodied hands of Dario Argento are currently strangling me.
Say hello, Jamie.
I don't really talk about this on the podcast a lot, but I was terribly mocked as a child for also having three mothers.
Well,
It happens. It happens.
that's a real trouble.
And folks, I know I say this every episode, but this is an actual special treat of an episode because we have with us tonight people with actual talent and have contributed in some way to life. Joining us tonight, we have the Roller Disco Massacre. Guys, please go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm John.
This is Abe.
And I'm Tristan, the editor.
Cristian, one of the producers.
All right, I think we got the works now. We've got 4 of you joining us tonight. Holy cow, this is fantastic. It's so great to have you guys here. For everyone at home, we're probably going to be jumping into a lot of spoilers for the movie The Night Sitter. That movie is on Amazon Prime right now. If you have a Prime membership, you can just watch it, no extra rental fee. Do yourself a favor, go check that out, watch it, and then return and listen to the episode. Or if you don't care about spoilers, keep on listening. Your life, do what you want. I don't care. But anyways.
We didn't know it was on Amazon Prime for free. That's pretty crazy. Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. Where's our shit?
It's cult. It's on Amazon Prime.
That was my first question. What is the business association with Amazon? How do you get paid out of that?
We literally have zero clue.
We can put you in contact with someone else who knows.
I was just joking about that. I didn't expect to get into money. But as long as we're getting into The Night Sitter right away, could you guys kind of walk us through the history of that project? Because it's kind of a unique funding goal. It was a Kickstarter project, right? In part.
Yeah, it was. We kind of just tried to make this movie as cheaply and affordably as possible. But we filmed it over at my parents' house in Nashville, Tennessee. And that's kind of how we got the idea, essentially, that, we wanted to make a movie that was contained and affordable. And it was, fortunately, my parents' house was big enough for us to sleep, the house and crew. Or I'm sorry, the house was able to sleep the crew and
Yeah, I mean the Kickstarter was actually that sum of money was just for the gore effects.
Yeah.
Really?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it was mostly gore effects, but also for I think crafty and there was a couple of other departments.
Yeah, there was a couple other things we spent that.
But that was it was a good chunk. But yeah, we definitely needed that money just to make it just a sweeter experience for everyone. And
So how does stretch goals work with a Kickstarter? Like if you make past 10%, you get an extra throat slit?
Yeah, I don't know what it was. We gave people some props.
A couple people got props, or a couple people got drawings from Kevin's notebook, one of the characters.
That's awesome.
Or the masks from the witches.
Yeah, we had some extras. We had 2 or 3 copies of all of the masks of the witches, so we were able to not only give our actors who played the witches a mask, but also I think at least 2 Kickstarter funders, got masks.
Nice.
That's a display item for life.
Well, I don't know. How long does that latex and stuff kind of last? Doesn't that fall apart after a few years?
Actually, we were pretty fortunate, and we needed to be on a budget, so we used Etsy for the most part.
Oh.
We found some really cool artists that made actually I think all 3 of the masks were different designers from Etsy.
Right.
Yeah. So,
neat.
Pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's the wonders of the internet.
Absolutely.
So when did you guys first start really conceptualizing the project? Because I imagine this is a fairly long road if you have to go through Kickstarter, raise funds. You've got to film the darn thing. You've got to go out, get it distributed, probably hit the festival circuit to get people interested in it. This seems like it's got to be a couple of years of your life dedicated to one project.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
It was at least a couple of years for all of us, but I think Abe and I spent at least 3 years probably just trying to. I mean, it was almost a year just getting the script in order before we even shot it, and it kept on changing.
Yeah, the script I would say we wrote in late 2015. So yeah, by the time the movie actually got released, it was last August 2019.
Yeah.
So that, it was probably like 4 years from script to that.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think people appreciate how long it takes indie filmmakers to really get all this stuff pulled together. You know, we're kind of spoiled by just seeing like a big blockbuster get a sequel every 2 years and working like clockwork.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes a lot of time. And I think you asked about how it got conceptualized. I mean, we decided as a team that at this point, you know, we needed to make a feature length, and if we wanted to be able to afford, you know, how could we afford to do that? So we kind of backed into the fact that we didn't have any money, or we had a limited amount of money, and structured the story and the script around basically our free location, which was, as John said, his parents' place in Tennessee. So,
and that's actually what we've done on all of our short films that we worked on. You know, Tristan edited all of those, and that's kind of always what we've done. We've found a location that we can use, and
yeah, I mean, for us, I mean, at least in LA, like, it's just so hard to get a location for, I mean, that's pretty much our whole budget for almost any of our projects. So it's just like, it was pretty much impossible to shoot a feature in a house that we rented on the budget that we had for the night sitter. We had to shoot it, you know, in a free location. So
yeah,
we would, like, honestly, I don't even think we'd be able to come up with, like, yeah, that'd be really hard to come up with a movie. I don't know. We'll have to.
Yeah.
That sounds like that must have been such a surreal overlap between your past and your present. Like, here's the place where you grew up in, and here's all of these adult actors and crew and all these remnants of the life you've made for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And you get to spread blood all over the kitchen.
Exactly.
Yeah, like my favorite. I mean, it'll probably be my favorite thing I've done. I mean, Kevin's room was my bedroom. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that it's just all nostalgia for me. So yeah, every single like frame of that movie, it just reminds me of something else on top of the movie. So yeah, for me, it's just a completely separate experience than I think anyone else. But I feel like everyone.
When I watch the movie, I think about your childhood.
Yeah.
I share my experience with some others. Yeah.
So when you guys were getting together and picking a movie to make, Jamie and I said the same thing to each other the first time we started looking at your short films. I'm amazed they didn't just start with Just Say No as a feature length. That one just feels like it could be 90 minutes long, no problem.
Yeah, we actually wrote a script for that, a feature-length script, like years ago, and we're
before
trying.
the night sitter.
Well before the night
that was our plan. That was our first one.
Yeah, in like 2012, and we were going to make that, and then basically it was too expensive to put together for a while, and then I think we just kind of naturally moved on from the premise and started working on something else, and you know, it always ends up that you work on a few different things, and then eventually something pops, and you wind up doing it. And at this point, I don't know. I feel like we're kind of just like.
I mean, we'd love to do that type of movie.
But we'd have to rewrite it again.
Oh, absolutely. It's a completely different rewrite. And then also, there's just been a few movies that have similar content. I don't know if we actually came up with it the first, but, you know, it's kind of been done before now, so we'd have to figure out a couple of new
And someone advised us that we wouldn't be able to use the title Just Say No. Which, like,
right.
Oh, it's already out there?
Drove me nuts, because I was like, without the title, I don't even want to make this movie.
I respect that.
Samuel Jackson in Snakes on a Plane. Without that, he walked.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, I mean, if you try to make that movie now, pot's legalized in a ton of spaces. You'd have to find a harder drug. This guy would have to be like selling crack.
Just make it because it is a period piece, actually. Even
it's the 90s.
Yeah, so the short is in the 90s. So you know, it'll always be a drug, you know, drug dealer glory years.
Look, no matter what the era, there will always be piece of shit drug dealers and girlfriends who deserve better.
Yeah.
As a tale as old as time.
Jimmy, I feel like you're writing a good tagline for something right now.
Yeah.
So to get more into the story a little bit, I kind of loved how the story starts off with, I would say, a little bit of subterfuge as to what kind of genre of horror film we're going to get. Because we start off with a babysitter, so you think, okay, it could be something like House of the Devil. Then we move past that, we find out Amber's kind of got ulterior motives and she might be up to rob the place. So you think, oh, maybe it's something like Don't Breathe, where it's going to be, you know, the villain has the tables turned on him.
Yeah.
Then we get the introduction of like the dad who wants to be like a TV host for paranormal mystery kind of stuff. And you think, okay, maybe it's like The Cleansing Hour. And it hits you with several different roads the film could go down before it doubles back and says, no, it's actually going to be witches assaulting this house. More of kind of like a Dog Soldier thing, but in one location. Which I kind of love, just playing that guessing game of, okay, what film is this going to be?
Surprise.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of, you know, what we were certainly hoping for. You kind of want to set up these different plot threads so people aren't just sitting there bored waiting for someone to die. And yeah, we hope that is not the case with the Night Sitter.
Yeah,
It's pretty much
We know when everybody dies.
yeah.
One of the things I really appreciated, like speaking about that, was how even in the quiet moments in this movie, because it's such a slow burn, I love how all of the character beats are so on point that really you could watch this movie as a straight comedy without any supernatural elements coming in later.
Yeah,
really.
You can thank Abe for that. That's his witty dialogue.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
The actors.
But he's absolutely right. It's I do think we got lucky with the actors, and they all kind of really liked their roles, really liked each other, and we were all shooting in such a small space that they're really good working as a team. And I think you see that chemistry in a lot of their little beats together.
Oh, definitely.
And especially in the beginning, I love the whole kind of back and forth with Amber and Ted. Joe Walls and Elise Dufour. Yeah, they're both really great in that scene. And I think they give you enough to look at that you're kind of willing to just walk through the house with them.
Yeah, that opening scene with Amber and Ted just sells you on the entire movie. That is such a great tone establishment moment.
Oh, nice. I mean, I'm really, truly very glad you guys liked it, because that is some of the stuff that, we're really proud of in the movie.
Yeah, I really like how, regardless of the screen time and how seriously you're meant to take each of the characters, each of them definitely has their own amount of humanity that makes so much of the action and the gore feel so much heavier. And I feel like that's kind of rare in a lot of horror comedies, since they usually just want you laughing at the blood and guts, and that's easiest when you don't give a shit about anybody. I'm really curious, was that balance between the gore and the heartfelt moments, was that something you guys set out to do, or was that just something that just came when writing the dialogue and the script?
I know that we initially, we naturally go towards comedy in the end, but I know that initially our ideas are always more serious, I would say. So,
well, our violence
Yeah.
is serious.
Yeah. I think we just kind of like to shoot scenes of people being funny. And, that, in a lot of these horror movies, you've got scenes in between the scenes where people die. And you can either have a whole bunch of people moping around and being boring, or you can have them kind of cutting it up. And I don't know, I just think it's funnier that way.
And we also left some room for improv, especially on the comedy. I mean, there's a couple of moments definitely that just happened naturally on set, which was nice.
No, it was all in my brain.
I was gonna say, are you kind of the directors who are annoyed when a cast member goes off script, or are you pretty excited for the opportunity for them to kind of flesh these things out on the fly?
No, we're thrilled.
As the editor of the film, I would say that I'm not always thrilled.
Well, on set, you're thrilled because they've done the same.
Yeah, we love variation.
We're so bored of the dialogue that's in the script by the time especially by the time we edit it, we've heard every single line hundreds of times. And so to have other options, it's great. Plus, they're doing your work for you.
Yeah. One thing I loved, if we can go back to the violence for a second, a lot of low-budget films simply can't afford to show gore throughout the entire thing. So you have characters who, die off screen, they disappear, then you find their body later on. This film, we get a slit throat, there's a scalping, there's multiple stabbings, crushed heads, a bullet to the throat, broken wrists, a disemboweling. We've got witches, blood spurts. It's all up on the screen. We got the works here.
I've never heard it all just listed.
I started making bullet points the second time I watched the movie. Oh shit, okay, there's another broken arm.
Yeah, well, we have always loved to just absolutely wreck people who are in the movies. So yeah, it was important to us to have very violent gore, just because we feel like that's something that we respect in horror movies. If it's not, it doesn't seem totally gratuitous, because that's really scary. Watching somebody that you like die horribly, I don't know, there is an impact there.
Plus, I mean, it really makes the production value seem so much higher when you actually get to see all the blood go. Oh man, they're not just paying for actors.
Well, I mean, that was
effects going.
Budgetary comment.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, practical effects are the reason why. I mean, at least I like horror movies. At least
in a lot of those movies where they cut away, it's because they shot the effect and it looked terrible.
Yeah, something most likely. But
you just have to like cut around it, and no one will notice. It's fine.
Unless it's like a super clever horror movie that can somehow rely on no gore at all, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah, if we were clever
Pretty
enough
rare,
to
yeah.
not have gore.
Damn it.
Also, we don't want to leave it up to their imagination. Like, this is how violent it is. We will shoot. We will show you how violent it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, also, we wanted to work with a very experienced effects artist, so that's how we got Ben Rittenhouse, which is, he's the one that made all of those effects with. Yeah, I mean, it was just without him, it would not have happened, at least visually, the way that we have wanted to, because he cut some corners, budgetary wise, in order to make sure that we were able to get all of those effects on that list. Because we had several conversations where it could have, it could have gone one way or the other unless we had, hit the help of a bunch of. I mean, we can explain, but essentially, he has a school in Nashville that he had started, and we were able to use all of his students essentially for free.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
So,
Not for free, for experience.
for experience.
There we go. Yeah, exposure.
Yeah,
Like
on a
an
major
internship.
Hollywood set.
Yeah.
So it would not have been able to happen without that kind of miraculously coming to be. I mean, he was like he was a Hollywood effects artist that actually moved to Tennessee, I think the year prior to us shooting. So it literally worked out perfectly, where we didn't have to pay an effects artist to, live there with us for a month and house him. And yeah, it's just, all of this worked out perfectly for our budget.
Yeah, we love the end result, so we are so happy to have them there.
Yeah, it's gorgeous stuff. I mean, as long as we're talking about this, could you guys give us a little more detail? I'm so fascinated by the scalping in this movie. That seems like a
Same.
huge pain in the ass to pull off. Can we get any sort of technical background on how that was accomplished, or would we need Ben here to really explain that properly?
The scalping was honestly probably. I wish Ben was here.
One of the easier ones.
It was the easiest
Yeah.
and the cheapest probably effect besides the knife and through the mouth.
Really?
Yeah, that both of those were we just put some ultra slime and I wish Ben or someone was here from the actual effects department, but it was a pretty easy gig. I mean, they just put, I think, gelatin on a wig and they kind of covered it in blood. And then, luckily we had an amazing sound art designer. His name is Matt Schwartz. And I mean, he really helped sell that effect as well as, what it looked like, falling on the ground. I don't want to ruin anything on the movie, but yes, the scalping was definitely a pretty juicy spot in our movie.
Yeah.
So when you guys were doing all this, did you have to rely on CGI blood in any places, or was it really just actual squibs and everything else, real practical effects for the entirety of the shot?
All squibs. Do we have some CGI blood splatter somewhere?
There was some. I mean,
There are
just
no
gonna,
CGI blood splatters.
yeah, we're just gonna
Put that on the box.
If I can't tell, they don't exist.
but yeah,
There are a couple peppered throughout to accentuate existing
Yeah,
blood.
but everything
but
that's
I would say no more than 3 or 4. I would maybe even
and
3.
it's anything that you're thinking of as a money gore effect in the movie is practical.
It's practical.
Guaranteed.
Man, that's awesome. That's got to be, I imagine, nerve-wracking too, just because the cleanup after one of those, if they go wrong, you only get so many shots at it.
Wait, hold on, Christian. Talk
Yeah.
about the
Yeah. I mean, luckily we had interns that came from Europe actually, and that's what they helped with.
Yeah,
So yeah, the kids from they were from a school.
we
I
were
forgot.
from a school in
yeah.
Britain. Yeah,
Our gaffer was it?
our gaffer was
Yeah.
our teacher.
He hooked us up with some students from Europe that wanted to be in the or help out in the film, so they came out, and
it
that's
was
what they helped
an
out.
internship, pretty
Yeah.
much.
But yeah, I mean, every night it was whenever we had the big sort of deaths that that's what and mostly what we did, just clean up and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they were happy to do it. They were like, oh my god, look at this blood. Should we clean it up? We were like, yeah.
No, don't touch it.
So it was
For
like,
continuity reasons, no. Leave it forever.
let's go, Chad.
The gym scene in particular was a highlight.
Oh,
I
that
remember.
was
yeah.
That was
So
that was the messiest for sure. We had to get a ladder to get up.
Right.
It just got too high up on the ceilings. So.
But we're no strangers to cleanup. I mean, on Just Say No, we had to rip the carpet out of an entire house.
Yeah.
The entire house of the new carpet. I think there was like a half inch of blood from wall to wall in the garage, where one of the epic scenes was in that too. So
in Elevator 2, we made such a mess in that elevator that we actually got like a warning from that building.
Abe fell asleep cleaning up blood on the set of Just Say No in the garage while everyone else was doing it.
I did.
Oh no, I mean he cleaned too, but we were all
running on 40 hours.
Yeah.
That was always my favorite part about like old school horror movies from the 80s, how they do special features and have to brag about how many gallons of blood they used. I don't know why, but that always sold me like, oh, Evil Dead 2 used 100 gallons of blood. It's amazing.
Oh, that's what we tried to do with Just Say No, but we didn't have 100 gallons. I mean, I think we had like maybe 20, and all of it went on the garage floor, and it was like the worst. If you stepped in it, your shoe would get stuck. And it was all like corn syrup.
Yeah.
Right.
Ripping off the tiles in the bathroom in our short film. It was like really bad. That was like that was one of the craziest experiences. And it was at our producer's house. You know, it was like he got ruined for sure. His roommates were not happy.
All right. Well, as much as I love talking about fake blood, let's move on to what I'm sure you probably are tired of talking about because every interview has to bring it up. But just the use of colors in the movie, because I mean it's pretty clear you're going for something in the vein of Suspiria with the bright reds and the greens and all that kind of stuff. But you're not really doing a Suspiria story here. It's like you've reskinned a different kind of film and put the Suspiria aesthetic over top of it, and I thought that was really fascinating.
Well, we definitely appreciate that. I mean, sorry, that's
the dog did not like the question. Okay,
yeah, that's
straight from the record.
But yeah, essentially, I mean, it was Clement.
He's colorblind. This is all taunting him.
I know. Hold on. Give me just 1 second, guys.
Yeah,
no problem.
That's basically exactly what we're trying to do with the movie. It's, Suspiria is great. It's very much it's a masterpiece, but it's something that you can't really duplicate. You can't go into a movie and say, oh, we're going to make Suspiria. Like, it doesn't work like that, So
I don't know how the hell the people that made Suspiria. I don't think they could do it twice if they tried.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
They just woke up from a fever dream after production. They were just like, oh, this is it. We did it.
I mean, pretty much Argento is chasing the dragon the rest of his career. I still love all of his movies, by the way. But that was his most visually stunning movie, period. And potentially in the whole Giallo / Italian horror spectrum, which is, that is like a huge reference for us. But
the movie itself, in terms of like tone and sensibility, was kind of more inspired by like Idle Hands and that kind of like an era of kind of like
90s,
90s teen stoner horror type. It's a pretty specific subgenre.
And also,
but
also Christmas was pretty huge just because we were able to exaggerate on so many moments in the movie and be like, we want honestly, and there's a couple of parts that are like, there's this red hallway or stairwell in our house that we were able to like accentuate and just make it look even more red. And I think we even like painted one of the walls or the hallways to the Ted's office and made that red as well.
Well, that's what visionary directors do, is they see red and they say, can we make it more red? Can we actually increase the red? And everyone's
Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy movies, just more red everywhere.
But we love playing with the bright colors, the saturated colors, and the house that we shot in is such a nice kind of like backdrop for it. And it's just a really fun way to like make, even a nice house is, it's a house. There's something mundane about it. And so, it was just a great way to kind of bring a little bit of magic and a little bit of just that visual appeal into it.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of brown and gray beige walls, honestly. There'd be some people would maybe be falling asleep.
Yeah.
That is one thing that drives me a little crazy. You're watching horror movies or whatever kind of film, and they feel like they have to hew so close to reality that they make the film bland in some ways. And I love explosive uses of color in film. So anytime someone is going to be daring and make a hallway bright neon green, I'm there for it.
And that would also be our cinematographer, Scotty Field. I wish that he was here to talk on his
own behalf.
On his own behalf.
I think it's better actually that we speak on his.
He'd want that.
Well, look, he's a genius. He's the hardest working guy in the room, and he put in a ton of time making all of those rooms and all those setups look great.
And our colorist, Doug Potts.
Doug.
We never have actually. I still don't know if I've met. I don't know if I've met him in person. Yeah, but he's great.
We assure you that Doug is a great guy as well,
and that he does exist.
Yeah, he's real.
So you touched on the Christmas setting just a second. A lot of your shorts were also Christmas themed.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I'm sure you get sick of hearing answering that, but I think on your Kickstarter page you mentioned it's not necessarily for the thematics, but a lot of the look. Is that what you're going for? You just love the look of Christmas, or
John has an unnatural obsession with Christmas.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what it is. He has a Christmas tree still in his living room up right now, lit and down and everything.
But he did take it down.
I did take it down.
To replace it with a new one.
It had been up for about 6 years.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. But that does help because it provides us with practical colored lights everywhere.
Also, it's like the most magical time of the year, so why not kill a whole bunch of people?
Is there like a list of hollowed horror Christmas classics you have to go through every year? Like you have to watch Krampus or It's Not Christmas?
Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night are probably some of my favorite. Like those might honestly be in my top 10 movies of all time. Just because I just grew up watching so many Christmas horror movies. But yeah, I have lists of Christmas horror movies that I could give you.
I'm working on them right now.
I was always partial to the Tales from the Crypt Killer Santa episode. That one's classic Christmas.
First episode, it was definitely in the first season, but that is like honestly,
I think you're right. I think it's first.
Yeah, it's one of the best episodes, period. It's so good, and it's hilarious too. It definitely set the tone for I think the rest of that series.
So good.
I would recommend Dial Code Santa Claus. We actually watched the.
Oh, we love Dial Code Santa Claus.
I had never seen. I saw a trailer of it at Tarantino's theater a couple of years ago, and I was like, "What the hell is this movie?" And finally, Vinegar Syndrome put it out, so I finally was able to watch it. But that was seriously one of the best Christmas horror movies I feel like I'd seen in years. So.
I love how that movie was just gone for years. Then Vinegar Syndrome puts it out on a 4K, so now it went from being nowhere to you can watch it in the highest definition.
I know, it's insane. But I honestly was like, as long as you guys, keep on releasing this type of garbage, I'm gonna get it. I love it. I love all of their stuff. Honestly, I'm a huge Syndrome fan.
I can't stop myself a lot of times. Like, oh, Tammy and the T-Rex? Sure, okay, take my $40.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's so good. I didn't get the 4K because at the time I was rebelling and I was like, I'm not going to get 4K, but now I'm falling into the 4K collection, and it's
a deep hole.
Yeah,
it's awful. I bought Gremlins for the 9th time. I don't need to do this.
I know, that's the worst part. It's literally you're buying the same fucking thing over and over and over again.
Don't.
Yeah, but
you guys should hang out.
Yeah,
Rocco, he does Christmas and buying the same DVD 10 times. That's what he does.
It's now 4K. Mostly Blu-ray. Yeah. Well, here's the thing: get Code Red or Scorpion movies or all these other Vinegar Syndrome movies as well. All of them, they don't have a streaming platform, so it's this is really the only way you can watch them is by actually buying them. So
some of them pop up on Shudder. A lot of them will be on Joe Bob's Last Drive-In, and they'll stick around for a few months and then vanish randomly. But every once in a while, like a Shooting Star, they'll pop up on Shudder for a couple of months.
I don't have Shudder, and I really do wish I paid the $5 a month, but I've just been so cheap.
Instead of doing that, he pays $20 each.
It's true though. It's true.
So totally switching gears here. I was so fixated on this when the movie ended, and you jump into I believe I'm not sure if it's Tobacco or Black Moth Super Rainbow. I always get them backwards. One of the characters is wearing a Black Moth Super Rainbow shirt. Even in your shorts, there's multiple Tobacco songs.
Oh yeah.
Are you actually Thomas Feck posing as several people?
God,
or is he your cousin? How does this work? How did you get the Tobacco hookup?
He is literally my favorite artist of all time. And I think all of us have a true love for that guy and all of his bands and aliases.
Yeah, his music is like very meaningful, like aesthetically, to kind of like what inspires us and what makes us feel creative and think of, cool scenes for movies and stuff like that. It's just, his music kind of like speaks our language, and as often as possible we try to get his music when we can, when it's available to us. We've met him a couple of times. You've met him more times than I have.
But I mean, yeah. Like without his help, the movie would definitely sound different. And I'm not like, definitely Rob Heimbach, our composer, is the one responsible for the sound of our movie. But I mean, we had to have certain songs from Tobacco that just like carried on from all of our shorts. We were just like, we have to keep the tradition going. Yeah. So
I'm amazed more stuff doesn't have his music. It's so distinct, and it just gives everything so much energy.
Honestly, it's so amazing sometimes when you like, we've heard it sometimes, like I've heard a track or something on the radio, or like I think there was like a car commercial. Silicon Valley used it. There's a couple of pretty
like a
big
weird horror movie that used one of his songs, Detention.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I haven't thought about that in years.
Yeah, I think it was Super Gum or something, and I was like, what? Oh my god, that's such an awesome fucking I still like the movie. I think I bought that movie specifically for that scene and just to support Tobacco. But
Did you guys feel like you had missed out when he released a track called Babysitter like last year? Like, oh god damn it, if only that was 3 years ago.
Absolutely. Long story short, we were supposed to direct that video.
The music video with the Falcor puppet?
Yes, unfortunately, and
But we had a different, ours would have been a different concept.
Yes.
But we were hired by him and the label to do it, but then with COVID, we couldn't travel.
They fell apart, but that was like seriously, that was kind of one of the biggest bummers ever. But hopefully we'll get to make another music video. Just because he literally is like such an inspiration for our team. So
that would have been amazing.
Oh, absolutely. But I think his next album will probably kick even more ass than this current one.
God, the current album though was amazing. Hot, Wet, and Sassy.
Yeah, it's probably his best thing that he's. Yeah.
Anyone listening, forget about the Night Sitter. Just go buy.
You can stream the Night Sitter for free. Tobacco, go buy that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
You can stream Tobacco for free as well.
Spotify.
Yeah, and Bing.
Give him that sweet half of a penny.
He's worth it.
Man, I still got Dimensional Home stuck in the back of my head. It's been that way for like a week now. So thank you.
That's one of our. That's literally one of our favorite songs. I just can't believe that he allowed us, or him and actually Ghostly International. Cristian and I were dealing with them for a little while, but they allowed us to use those songs, or a couple of songs from their label, because some of it's split between Rad Cult, which is Tobacco's company, and some of his later stuff is actually on Ghostly International now.
Yeah, I suppose the aliases probably make it more difficult because they might be on different labels. This film has, 2 songs from Black Moth Super Rainbow and 3 from Tobacco or something like that?
You might actually. I'd have to look at the credits because I just haven't watched the movie in a little while. But yes, I think that there's at least 2, maybe 3 or 4 Tobacco songs. And some of them are like literally 15 seconds, like a garage door is open.
Right.
Yeah.
What? That's not fair use?
Yeah. I mean, we were able to use it.
How fair it was.
Yeah.
Jumping all over the place here. Let's go back to some of the scripting ideas. So I was really interested that you started Amber off as a thief. So in terms of motivation for a character, you've got someone that the audience isn't necessarily going to align with because they're doing something they might view as immoral. And that gives you a lot of dramatic play, I'd imagine. But then you also have the risk of the audience not liking that character because they're a thief. Was that like a contentious point for you guys when you're writing it, or did you think that gave you enough freedom to do what you wanted to do?
We always like writing characters that are not really despicable, but, they're not extremely redeemable characters. They're just more fun. I just feel like they're less predictable as well.
And
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I think that the audience is less moral. You know, I don't know. I think that's kind of almost like a story, you know, theory type of thing. Like, oh, you know, the audience has this moral code, and the characters have to live up to it. Like when you meet Amber,
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, you know, she's kind of like, are you really that upset that she's going to steal from this like creepy guy? Like, you know,
Not particularly, no.
even if that
Jeffrey
is-
Combs over here.
Yeah, I'm like, is she like just, you know, still gonna like her better? Like, just look at them.
the most likable characters are probably Kevin and Vincent, I think. And in our, we don't really.
I mean, yeah, in terms of like moral higher ground or whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, you know, I think the audience is on Amber's side. You know, I mean, with filmmaking, if you keep showing the audience a character and then what the character's looking at and then the character again, you're just kind of like with them. You know, you're seeing everything from their perspective, and you align yourself with them naturally.
I think casting also is really important. I feel like Elise kind of brought that sort of personality where you can sort of get on her side.
Screen presence, yeah. And you just kind of, I think you connect with her just watching her behave in the scene.
Yeah, Elise DeFore has so much charisma that she brings to this role. I kind of feel like the character could do just about anything and the audience would still be on her side. Just from her little, like, looks to the camera, the way she carries herself, there's something immediately very endearing about her.
Very sincere about the performance.
Yes.
I agree. I mean, I think she turned in a great performance. You know, she kind of, you know, she has to interact with everybody, you know, so she has to have a dynamic with every other character. And, you know, so she kind of really carries you through the movie because all the other characters are like lunatics. And she's the one person.
She's the one grounded.
Yeah,
one,
you know.
much. Yeah.
You side with
Well, but you get so much wiggle room, I feel, with the morality of that character by the simple fact that you don't have her be a dick to the kids. Anytime I watch The Night Sitter with somebody, they always assume, just from the character's introduction, that Amber is like going to bully the kids or like be a horrible babysitter and she's going to have to like learn to protect them. Whenever they see that Amber immediately levels with them and gets down on their level and treats them with more respect than any of the adults do, I feel like that's when people, like anyone I've watched it with, has really gotten hooked on the movie and want to follow that character through to wherever they go.
It's really interesting. I never heard that before.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I think that is a testament to her performance because in the script it was probably a little more snarky that you would think she was kind of talking down to the kids and being kind of a jerk. But I think, you know, her kind of not wanting to play, you know, maybe obvious overblown comedic stuff. You know, she's just trying to kind of play a little more natural and kind of use her charisma and everything. You kind of probably feel like it's a little more likable. The same thing kind of happens with Vincent. He was written as being super creepy,
Yeah,
like
super weird.
creepy.
Yeah.
And then when Ben Barlow showed up, we just kind of like when we ended up casting him
Immediately, we
changed
just
the
an
character
audition.
to kind of suit what he was like because, you know,
and we saw some creepy guys.
Yeah.
But we were like, this is probably not the vibe. It was cooler in the script, and now we have an actual Vincent. That, you know.
Yeah. He is.
It was pretty cool. That was like one of our favorite, little casting miracles that Cristian actually helped. Cristian, you want to explain how vast our?
Yeah, so we kind of did a sort of very wide casting pool in LA and Atlanta as well, and most of the talent came from Atlanta
or the South.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we got really interesting submissions, and I think the sort of the people we got, you know, the dynamic they had was pretty great.
We did get some very interesting submissions. Yes.
I imagine just a line of extras from The Walking Dead just showed up like, hey, what are you guys doing over here?
I mean, we wish.
Yeah, at that point, I don't think she was with The Walking Dead, but we had like
actually was on the Walking Dead.
We had
no.
No, it was during the shoot. I thought it was on the reshoot.
Yeah, it was during the reshoot.
Okay, we had a very small reshoot, and then she had like gotten cast in The Walking Dead, and we were like, "Oh, holy shit, this is amazing!" But still doesn't really help our movie yet. But hopefully, one day. Also, Kevin
who's Jack Champion. He's in. We always just try to pimp this out.
Yeah, we always try to.
Yeah, he's in the Avatar.
Yeah, he's in the next 3 Avatar movies.
Yeah, he plays.
Whoa, awesome.
Sam Worthington's kid, I think, in the Avatar sequel.
Well, he's the only kid.
Holy shit.
Yeah, the only human
Yeah,
kid
he's
on
the
Pandora.
non-painted face. Yeah, he's like
Yeah,
whatever.
Avatar.
Guy.
Every other kid is
Avatar.
waking up at like 5 a.m. and going to the motion capture.
John doesn't like sci-fi.
So that kid has royalties for the rest of his life to look forward to.
Oh yeah. Wait, did you say he was in?
Oh, and he was in
Avengers.
He was in Avengers Endgame. Yeah.
Oh,
He turns the camera on a bike. He's like a kid on bike.
Batman.
Kid on
Oh,
right.
I might know. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is this like when Ant-Man's walking around his neighborhood?
Yeah, it's at the very beginning. Yeah, he's like, "What the hell happened?" or something, and then like Jack Champion just like looks and stares at you.
And they had this line, but on set they were like, "All we need is the look."
Yeah. Yeah, and it was pretty awesome. You know.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
And that line was, Ant-Man, isn't your family dead? Really?
Mark, he doesn't know.
But I feel like Vincent is, in many ways, kind of the breakout character of this film. Like whenever we saw it, that was the character we kept returning to in our conversations. Because you're right, you could so easily see that character being just the one-note creepy nerd joke that's kind of become old hat at this point. Like between the little touches you guys gave to that character and to Barlow's performance, like I hate that he dies. I want to see like an entire trilogy of Vincent Witch Hunter.
I've seen him the other way. A series of him explaining monsters and then immediately dying.
Yeah.
It's a YouTube short.
All the information, but he just does not know how to implement it. Yeah, I mean, he's certainly a character that a lot of people pick out, which I think, again, really speaks to Ben's performance. You know, Ben is, I believe that's the first and last movie he's done.
I mean, he's
a stand-up comedian. So
yeah, we just got him. Yeah.
So he just has that ability to kind of like hold your attention and talk. And, you know, he's got really great timing. And I disagree. I thought it was a joy to kill him. And one of my favorite things about the movie is that, you know, you're set up to hate Martin because Martin's such a
piece of shit.
Runt.
Yeah.
I hate this guy. And you love Vincent, and then they go down to the basement together, and it's, you know, one of them is clearly going to die, and you hope that everyone in the audience is like, well, obviously it's going to be Martin.
Yeah.
You know? And then for Martin to bitch out again and Vincent to die, it's like, I don't want to pat ourselves on the back here. I mean, come on.
Come on. I mean, Vincent's also like the only real hero in the movie, right? He's the only one who really wants to save the day and stick his neck out on the line and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he believes the kid. He would be like the hero in any other movie.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, we wanted to set up the idea that this long forgotten character could be a hero and kill him.
But yeah, he is definitely one of our favorite characters, just from beginning to end. Like, coming up.
I just want to see a spin-off of him and Nick Frost's character from Attack the Block, just as monster hunters.
Oh my God.
Just chilling and smoking weed.
Get us in touch with Nick Frost's people. We'll make it happen.
Man, going off of characters you couldn't wait to kill, did you have any issues when you were setting this up where you're like, okay, we're going to have a kid strung up by his legs and then we're going to slit his throat on screen? Like, I imagine you're not dealing with a review board in the same way where you have to worry about getting like an NC-17, but was there any point where someone told you, like, maybe don't kill the kid on screen?
Oh, that was a goal of ours. We had a few things.
I'm always excited when I see a kid die on screen, so I'm glad.
I applaud it.
Well, we were just like, we have to like just do this because we'd never really done it before. We hadn't really worked with kids, so we wanted to cross that off the list. We also worked with a dog.
Yeah.
Well,
it's especially though with kids. It's nice to have the kids in the movie, and then, you know, for us, it's a kind of like feather in our cap that we killed the kid first. Like, the first person to die is the kid, you know?
Oh, for sure.
And,
it's just how it had to be.
Yeah, and that was great. And, you know,
I think you killed the dog and then the kid, so it's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
We got the two big targets no one wants to see killed first.
When we hung Ronnie upside, Bailey Campbell, the actor, hilarious little kid. When we hung him upside down to like do the stunt, he was loving it.
Oh, he was having the time of his life. I honestly, the stunt coordinator
we wish we could have shown more violence.
Yeah. We just wish we had more than like, I think it was like 20 seconds or something that we could have him suspended upside down, the stunt coordinator. So we had to like pretty much take breaks every, I want to say it was like 20 seconds. It was something crazy. So we got what we needed at the end of the day, but that was actually a little bit more difficult coordinating the upside down throat slit that we thought that we had more time on set that we were going to.
Yeah, story of our lives.
Yeah.
So that's why they always say don't work with kids, because you have to reset every 20 seconds so they don't black out.
Yeah. That's
Pretty
actually
much.
we did that same thing on Did Somebody Call Rhonda, and that's actually kind of like a human. I mean, with Gerald, it could be like 45 seconds or something, because we hung a full-sized grown man from a different ceiling in a different movie, and
yeah, he couldn't be up there for a while. I think it was like maybe upside down for a while. It was probably not safe.
He was complaining.
He was complaining. And he was a grown man.
Yeah.
So
and it's never been the same.
Yeah, not everybody's Doug Jones. I assume you can just hang him upside down indefinitely.
God, I just imagine Doug Jones is always upside down. Like they go to get that guy and he's already wearing a different fish costume, and they have to strip him out of that one, get him right side up, put him into the Abe Sapien costume, and then turn him upside down again.
You know, I met Doug Jones. He's starring in a movie that I wrote called The Knocking. That's
it's like getting Michael Berryman in your movie.
Yeah, I mean, he's great. He signed on to the movie. One of the main reasons he signed on to it was because he was being hired to just be Doug Jones. Like, you know, he's not in a costume. He's not wearing makeup. And he, you know, really, like, loved the idea of getting to actually, like, act in a movie. A whole bunch of stuff.
Destroying skin.
Yeah. He's been doing it for years. I think he's, like, a little bit... He's doing it on a Star Trek show, right?
Yeah, he's on Discovery. He's one of the aliens. I mean, he's head to toe in makeup in that, too.
Yeah. And, you know, he's... but he's a really cool guy.
I just love he's like, you can always tell it's Doug Jones because he has the most distinct hand acting I've ever seen in my life. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's doing it.
It's a shame he doesn't do more out of makeup work. I know his like 3-scene cameo and John dies at the end is the most memorable thing about that movie easily.
Yeah, he has a very expressive face. He's a very interesting actor.
Doug Jones, so dreamy. Actually, I love Doug Jones. Anything he's in is like an automatic buy for me. So now I got to check out your new thing, anyways.
Aha, he's got you, Cody.
I'm ensnared. He got me with the Doug Jones trap. So to kind of go back to the start of the conversation, we skipped past this. Why witches? What was the attraction to witches that you guys wanted to use those as the monster?
Well, witches were kind of they're a nice middle ground between like supernatural and practical. I feel like because they have a human form and I think you can still have them kind of like viscerally attack people, but also, you know, you can kind of play around with supernatural.
Cool, yeah, exactly. So
they can do spells. You know, they're kind of just like a box of surprises.
And it wasn't. I feel like there's just a lot more witch movies started coming out, but we thought that we were ahead of.
At the time, we're like, we're going to make a witch movie and a babysitter movie.
I remember it was like the week we were shooting, or the week before, The Witch came out, and we were like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
I mean, luckily, that's a totally different style of witch movie, so it's not really competition.
And then the babysitter came out. When we were editing, and then when we actually released that movie, that's right when Better Watch Out.
Better Watch,
Oh man! Although you could get a hell of a double feature by doing Better Watch Out and then The Night Sitter back to back.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
you could watch The Night Sitter twice.
You could.
Well, I'm glad that you said The Night Sitter second, at least, just because, you know, I love, you know, I think that our movie would be great for a second feature of any movie, just because it's just a little bit more fun
than
the average. Yeah,
I would say, Better Watch Out. Like that like makes me upset to watch, so I would need something to come down afterwards.
I like that both of our movies, though, did have a lot of inspiration from Home Alone. And I just like I love the feel that movie had, and I mean the actors, you know, those were pretty damn good actors. So
for sure. And the Home Alone elements of Better Watch Out are like very on point and very like clear, and they really work. Yeah, our Home Alone stuff is a little more just like vibe, kid at Christmas.
Yeah, the beginning of exactly, just kind of the setup
and the like sticky bandits level of intellect. You know,
exactly. Well, there's a couple of nods. The cheese pizza.
Yeah, for sure.
Name's Kevin.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we love Home Alone.
Yeah.
That's.
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah. I mean, that is pretty crazy to say that you don't like Home Alone.
You can tell right away. Like if I'm dating someone, I have to ask that about second date. Now I know if it's going to work out or not.
Just besmirch the name of John Hughes in my house.
Out! Very, very single all the time. So one thing I just wanted to point out that I thought was pretty clever is the way you trap the characters in the house. And I'm always interested to see how filmmakers get around the idea of, why don't they just leave? Something like Insidious did a really clever move where it's not the house that's haunted, it's the person. So if you move, the curse just goes with you. In this movie, it's just, well, there's a curse. You're basically stuck inside the house. You can't get out, which gives them a fun kind of ticking clock to work against because they know the witching hour is coming. They've got to find a way out of this house. So it just makes them more active as characters. And it keeps you in that one location. So I'm sure that helped out quite a bit for filming. But I really enjoyed that angle.
Well, damn, we appreciate that.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely...
It seemed like a logical, practical way to keep them in the house.
We just wanted to move past the logic of everything and be like, all right, it's a horror movie.
Yeah, let's get to the fun stuff,
Let's stop dicking around with people going to open the window.
That is a pet peeve of mine with audiences, because you'll have people asking questions like, why didn't they just call the police? Why didn't they unlock the door and go out the window or whatever else? And it's no fun sitting around listening to all those what ifs. You just want to enjoy the movie. And a situation like this basically cuts out 90% of those immediately. So you don't even have time to think about what it shoulda, couldas.
Yeah, they can't leave the house until the doors just open on them. It's the ultimate out we have.
and by that same token, why didn't the witches just curse the doors so they couldn't leave?
Yeah, why didn't the witches immediately kill everybody?
Come on.
You could do it.
Don't ruin our movie.
Yeah.
Those are the worst people to watch movies with when they're that serious about it. It's like, guys, come on.
That's why Drag Me to Hell is a masterpiece. It has the greatest exchange in movie history. Why doesn't my cell phone work? Magic.
Yeah.
I do. Oh, yeah. Alyssa Lohman tries to pick up her phone and a goat demon pops out of it.
Magic solves all film problems.
Sam Raimi is definitely one of the biggest influences on us,
especially for tone.
For tone, for the gore and the comedy.
Evil Dead. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many of his types of movies.
I mean, Evil Dead 2 is really the premiere, but Dragon
3.
I did notice you guys had fake shemps in your credits. That was nice.
Yeah, we had some fake shemps.
And maybe I'm imagining this, but I could have sworn at one point there's a part where one of the witches is attacking, and it sounds like your voice has the same modulation as the Deadites in Evil Dead 2. Am I making this up? Just overlooking into the Easter eggs?
I wish that we could. Yeah, I mean, maybe our sound designer wound up using one of those, and you probably picked up on it, and he just didn't tell us. or
you're imagining
it. It's more likely I was imagining it, but man, I was ready to give you bonus points there.
Yeah. If it gets them into copyright trouble, you imagined it.
Yeah. Where it's like, what is this? It's just a string of Easter eggs?
The answer is yes.
You got a problem with that?
I guess not.
But man, Sam Raimi is the master of the horror comedy, and it's a shame because a lot of films don't try for it. I can see why. It's tough. A lot of people come down and say, well, the film was too funny, so it wasn't scary, or they'll say it was too scary, so it wasn't funny. It's threading the needle. But man, when it works, I love it. It sticks with me. I love that vibe, that mood. It's definitely a sweet spot for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you gotta. It's a genre that we love it. It's very specific. It's an acquired taste, you might say, and I think you just got to try to please the diehard fans because it's never going to be like The Conjuring or something where it has this universal. Some people just don't like to laugh and watch people die at the same time. It doesn't matter what the movie is; they just don't want to watch them. And God bless them. But we just want to satisfy the people who love the genre and kind of can appreciate the conventions when we use them, and then can also appreciate when we sort of maybe subvert some conventions.
For sure.
Some people lean more into the comedy, and others lean more into the horror.
Yeah,
we get comments from both aisles.
So when you're working on the edit, how do you try and balance that stuff? Do you ever have moments where okay, we made this scene maybe too funny?
Maybe. I think we would have loved to have had that problem. Is it actually too funny? Yeah.
Do we have to trim a line here or there just to kind of get to the blood and guts, or is it? No, it seems like it'd be a balancing act to me, but I don't know. I wasn't there.
I don't think we did a lot of balancing, as in cutting comedy here to make room for more horror. I think that was pretty well planned out in the script and in the story.
Mhm.
I think it would mostly come from something like a line read.
Or
So
like a
someone
music
will
cue.
or someone will deliver something in a funnier way. Martin was especially guilty of doing that constantly. Every delivery he did was different and pretty
absurd.
yeah.
He's I mean, he would just, and, because that's what we were telling him to do. We would say, okay, you got to be, you're crazy, you're even more out of breath, you're even, just dial everything up. Only we would give him like a very good, reasonable direction, not something.
And we wound up using probably at least a few of the craziest
We would be
moments.
like, do it crazier, and he'd be like, what? Are you sure?
Well, like I was very much questioning a few times.
He was able to bring off the goofy shit. He was able to
not carry it off,
not execute, but he was able to like be convincingly goofy without us, worrying about like, can you see through it? Like it felt like genuine. It felt natural for him, and it felt natural on the screen. So that's why we like stuck with those moments. They didn't feel fake or forced.
And it's funny. Benedict is the guy who is least like his character. I would say, of everyone,
absolutely.
Of everyone that we.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone is a better person than their character is, obviously, but Benedict is like
he just
is nothing like Martin at all.
Doesn't dress like we made his hair look like it's just like completely different.
Well, I think that gives him a lot of creative liberty too, because now he's just like blank slate. I can be anything.
Yeah, he's very
absolutely. Yeah,
we did a lot of replaying of Martin takes and scenes and just cracking up in the edit.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
Absolutely, he's definitely one of the best characters that we. Yeah, we had a lot of Martin moments.
When he's chugging the whiskey and gasps or whatever, after he takes that was so good.
Anytime we could give him physical comedy.
So I feel like every monster movie, there's like one main trope associated with a monster. If it's zombies, you got to have like a big old disemboweling. For witches, I think you guys should be like what the example is. It should be a guy making out with a hot woman who turns into a corpse mid-smooch. That should be the standard for every witch movie. Every movie should have one of those, because that always gets me.
Well, that was one of the things we also wanted to work with.
It gets us too.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to that great scene in The Shining,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's that. I mean, what's a nicer way to say we ripped that off?
Homage.
Yeah, that's right. It was a rip. No, but we kind of like to play with this idea of the witches kind of having this seductor's edge, both through the pool scene and also then when Amber and Lindsay and Rod are in bed together. It was fun to play with that. We do think more people should use it. We think they should give us credit instead of.
Well, and the witches, they cater to a lot of the characters' weaknesses, right? So Martin's weakness was he was so desperate for female affection or intimacy he wasn't getting it from Elise like he wanted to. So this that's the weapon they chose to use against it.
But he's damn.
I just enjoy the idea that the character of Lindsay, once possessed, mostly is there just to fuck with these people. Like I really enjoyed the teases with that character.
Yeah, we liked that a lot too. We really loved the idea that she turns into a witch while they're having sex, and then she just like continues having sex with them, and then they get and come downstairs, and like she's still pretending to not be evil.
Yeah, it's quite absurd.
Yeah,
honestly, as soon as she popped in this context, she just became like someone else on set. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, Amber Newcomb is that actress who plays Lindsay. She is fantastic, really funny, really like went for it with the.
Definitely. And we always say this, but she moved to Atlanta after.
Yeah, she loved the southern film scene so much that she moved from LA to Atlanta.
She was the only actress we paid to no, I think we paid for Joe too. Yeah. He's from New York, so there was only a handful of actors that we could afford to fly.
Everyone else would be pick yourself.
Yeah, sorry.
See you there.
And she went hard in the paint in the finger biting scene when she's
oh my god
holding him up against the wall. Like that was
it was great.
Yeah,
and you're only seeing what we chose for the movie. Like there's takes of
there's some minutes of chomping on some fingers.
Well, I wanted to ask, in your previous work, you guys have shot a lot of violence and a lot of gore effects. but never anything quite that seems like quite as long or as involved as that bloodbath in the pool house where Lindsay finally gets taken out. What was it like filming that?
That was extremely hectic. We had one night to shoot that. Cristian,
Damn.
Yeah. He helped set this up with us, but it was like pretty much like we didn't really have more than a couple of takes for anything. I don't think it was pretty difficult.
A lot of action though.
Oh yeah, it was just a lot of
moves really quickly.
A lot of choreography because we had our stunt.
We had trained in the choreography before we did.
We did a little rehearsal, but it was.
It's all about pre-production.
Yeah, but it was. I mean, obviously, it's a blast to shoot that, and it's fun to have there be like urgency. Like even a lot of the other gore effects in The Night Sitter, there's even if they're great effects, they might happen in a scene where the witch pops up and kills somebody, and it's just kind of that fast, that simple. So it's fun to do something where it just keeps going, and people keep getting hurt worse and worse, and it just like just the pace kind of a little more unrelenting.
Oh, and how good was the final blow?
Yeah. We won an award at some film festival for best kill, and when we got the award, on it says "knife through back of head."
So you never forget.
That's easily one of my favorite shots. Yeah. That profile shot on the set.
And it was probably one of the cheapest because all she did was just bite into the end of a plastic knife. Yeah.
We cut off.
That's it. That's the whole effect.
That was the effect.
Yeah.
Put some blood in your mouth. And it was,
Jamie, apparently we're basic bitches because like the scalping was my favorite. You really enjoyed that one, and apparently we picked the cheapest ones.
I think any sequence where you can work in a knife kill and violent gym equipment, like you deserve all the awards for that.
Yeah, that was always something we wanted to do was death by gym equipment.
That's true. Anybody who's been to a gym thinks about hitting someone in the face.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
terrifying.
It's a great scene in that one Final Destination movie. That guy gets killed in the gym.
Or if you've seen Starry Eyes, there's this moment.
Oh yeah.
The lead actress just like annihilates one of the characters who's sleeping in bed with like a dumbbell. It's probably one of the scariest like moments in the movie, just because it's
blunt force trauma is just so great. In movies.
So we definitely wanted to do that, and it's just perfect. It kind of just like worked out perfectly with our location because we were like, well, we have a gym already, so all we have to do is find like a fake prop that
Deaths with weapons that aren't naturally weapons, objects that aren't actually weapons, are also a fun thing that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Like a knife, okay, a gun, okay, a machete or chainsaw, okay, but like a toaster or like
now we're talking.
That's
be a little creative, Yeah, totally.
Because then it's like, oh man, anybody can take that toaster and kill me like they did me. Now you're afraid of toasters.
I mean, that's 90% of the fun of the Final Destination movies. Like, great, now I'm afraid of trucks for the rest of my life because a log might kill me.
Exactly.
Yeah, I appreciate any movie that makes me see my house like I'm a Daredevil villain. Like, oh, that stapler could be used to kill me.
Yeah. Oh, it's all very dangerous if you think about it too hard.
I'm just going to wrap myself in one of the Zorb bubbles. One, is probably great for COVID, and two, I don't like physical contact anyway, so this is perfect all around. We were joking about this earlier, but you were stuck in that one location. Everyone's sleeping there, working there. Just imagine if you'd been doing this during the age of COVID, just first being announced, and you just locked down in that spot. I feel like that's its own horror movie.
Oh, that actually would be that. It was honestly, at least I think for most of the people that were there, it was probably the most fun we've ever had. It was nonstop partying.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were talking about the location, about how it was basically a version of quarantine. I wasn't able to be there, but the stories I heard from set were all just getting better by the end, the camaraderie and the relationships you build when you're working so hard with people so close to you, and then then you have to kind of relax with them at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because we don't really even we haven't seen a lot of those people since our reshoot. Honestly,
a lot of them are local to the south. Also.
Yeah, that's true, but it is just pretty it's pretty crazy because they were like, family members. Like we were like literally with them for like 18 hours a day or more. And even like, pretty much more. Like we would literally just sleep even in the same areas because there's people sleeping,
People sleeping everywhere.
Yeah, Cristian helped set us up. It was nuts. Like,
yeah. I mean, where we didn't shoot, it's with sleeping area basically. Yeah.
No Star Wagons on our side.
We'd be every time we had to switch to a different room. Cristian and like several other people had to figure out how we were going to move
Get
everything.
People's shit out of
Exactly. It was pretty much musical chairs.
Oh, we're in Ted's room. It's like, all right, you slackers.
Yeah.
It's something that definitely does come through on the screen. Like the takeaway you really get whenever you first watch this movie is they wanted to make sure the audience had as much fun making it, as much fun watching it as they did making it. It just feels like a movie where everybody wants to be there and wants the movie to be awesome, and you can always tell.
Maybe we're biased, but we definitely felt that way too. There's
definitely a elevated level of energy that gives you that sense. Even now, when I'm just thinking back on some scenes, I totally know.
Yeah, I think even some movies that have bigger budgets and higher production value, like even more gore effects, whatever. Sometimes even though those movies might be technically impressive, you just don't get that kind of like liveliness from scene to scene and between the characters. And I do think that The Night Sitter has that. I think it really goes by like very quickly, even at like 90 minutes almost. Just kind of like zips right along.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I do think that's because everyone is kind of like having, every actor is like wanting to be the star of the movie. Every scene wants to be the best scene. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, if anyone has as much fun watching this as we had making it, I don't know. They've probably gone ecstasy.
That's the special feature on the DVD. You open it up and some gummies fall out. It's great.
Some ecstasy.
Yeah. I would be thrilled to have a fan that big. They were just like, oh my god, this movie is church.
Well, I think we're getting close to wrapping things up here. Before we do, what's next for you guys? What are you all working on? Different projects? Is there another group one in the works here?
I mean, there's always a group one in the works. Unfortunately, we've pretty much taken the year 2020 off of pre-production and planning stuff, which is, unfortunate, but probably
I can't imagine trying to get a project off the ground or filming something in this environment.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
especially independently.
Yeah, I mean, filming would be a ways off, but it's kind of we're just kind of on the hunt for the next thing right now and trying to just figure out kind of what the next idea that speaks to us in a way where we want to spend, all our time and all our money and all that.
Yeah.
I just want to pitch the idea of there being a Night Sitter 2 that's pretty much just Return to Salem's Lot, but with witches instead of vampires.
I mean,
if someone can get that money for us.
We were doing the hard thing. We always on set we pitched The Night Sitter 2, Martin's Revenge.
A return to Night Sitter's Lot.
Yeah.
And then it is exactly Salem's Lot 2, but witches.
You could return to the two characters that are still alive at the end of the movie. That would be like taller than Elise.
The Ring too, except not with Naomi Watts.
And you'd have to pay that kid Avengers Endgame money though now.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Probably, we'd have trouble getting him. He'd be like, "Oh, you should actually just call my agent."
Yeah, it was way easier when it was just dealing with his mom.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to call your agent.
Yeah, he blew up. We're probably not going to be able to work with that guy anymore, but
that's all right, because he'll always be Kevin.
Maybe we'll get a shot at him on the road for you.
Yeah, hopefully.
Get a raspberry.
Well, I think that's going to wrap things up for tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This was amazing. Love picking your brain. Folks at home, if you haven't stopped us to go watch The Night Sitter, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Go do that. You can find more of these guys on the RollerDiscoMassacre.com. I hope that's actually a .com, not an org. It's a .com. Nailed it. Someone did his homework, kind of.
Well, thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for taking the time to talk about Christmas horror movies.
And we're really glad you like it, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was a blast. Thank you so much. Folks, this has been Box Office Pulp. You can find more of us if you want at boxofficepulp.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Or not. Our schedule's pretty variable. But anyways, we'll be around.
And like that, he's gone.
This is Box Office Pulp Guy, and this has been a Pulp Podcast production. Now please, 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 put a gun in my mouth and pull the trigger and say goodnight.
And now, on with the show.